Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Closers Live.
Good morning, how are we?
Hey, what's up? I'm excited. I got my coffee.
Awesome.
Usually though, I'm double fisting.
Lauren, give us the quick, who is Lauren Hardy?
So my name is Lauren Hardy and I live in Southern California. I specifically live in Orange County. I'm a volume wholesaler. I have been in a lot of different, I've done all the strategies in investment real estate for residential. I started out flipping houses in my local market in my backyard. I started out almost 10 years ago. It's hard to believe.
Gavin does a little bit of virtual wholesaling, I think.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Gavin, what markets are you in?
So we're in Birmingham, Alabama. We do a little bit in Florida as well. And I do a little bit in Savannah where I live, but I try not to do it where I live because I have a rule. Like I do not go to the houses.
Man, I was talking about this yesterday with one of my students. I said,
yeah,
I want to start doing some virtual stuff. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's episode. This is last night. So
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Lauren's brain. I want to pick Gavin's brain on what you guys are doing, how you're doing it. And I want to start doing it outside of my market and not even including it. So I don't even have the opportunity to go drive it. Because I'm the kind of guy that's like, oh yeah, let's go take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you want to remove. And when I got into the business, I just started with virtual wholesaling. So that's kind of like all I knew, right? So was the virtual side. So it's pretty cool. And Lauren would have had this as well, and probably Don as well. When the pandemic hit and everyone was flapping and panicking, and they've got all these offices and going all crazy, and they don't know how to operate. We were fine. We did great early on in the pandemic because we just kind of doubled down and we knew what we were doing. And you'll see now a lot of people have transitioned into virtual because they've had to, and they're going to stay there. But yeah, I think it's the way forward. I mean, we have, we always discuss these things in, on this show, but I think virtual, the way that I do it, that Lauren does it, and obviously Don does some now, is the way to go. But the thing is, like, Dave, obviously you're good. Obviously you're good in person. You know what I mean? I could see your personality, like why you'd be great in person. But I think when you go virtual, you'll be like, damn, like how many more deals could I do? Because all them, for me, the travel time, right? You drive there, you spend an hour with a seller, you do all this. We could have been pounding the phone, getting contracts. That's what I've always thought. So yeah, I think you'll like it when you do it for sure.
To piggyback on what Gavin said, what I had noticed when I was not virtual is the sellers that refused to sign over the phone because they wanted me to come to the property first. They were always the ones that were actually just spinning my wheels. They wanted a free appraisal on their home, and they were getting 5 other investors to come to their house.
Yeah,
it was like every time. And I remember the last time I did that it was actually in my backyard. And I remember driving this, I was Inland Empire. Don probably knows the area better. It was a house in the IE, took me an hour and a half to get there, probably 2 hours back in traffic. Guy wasted my time. He actually had me come to his house 2 times and then he never ended up selling to me. And I'm going, I will never do that again. That was like 8 hours of my life I'm never going to get back.
Yeah. All the hangups we have about, being in person, they're really just they're mental roadblocks that once you get past, you realize the sky's the limit.
Yeah. It's because I told you a couple of episodes ago when we laughed, when I said I didn't know anything, right? I didn't want to go to the house because I can't fix a thing. I don't know nothing. I don't know pricing. So the worst thing that I could do is that I can BS on the phone all day because I haven't seen it. So I can gather information. I can do all them things. But if I walk in that house, I'm thinking, I'm sure need to know how much a roof costs and how much this and how much that. And I don't know any of them things. So I was gladly to go virtual all day long. Yeah. I did not want to be face to face. So,
all right. Well, everyone's virtual here except for me. Let's go. All right. So
welcome to the club.
Yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, I want to learn about the marketing. What marketing are you guys doing? And how is it different than the marketing that I'm doing? And then also I want to learn about the team structure.
That's a lot of questions.
That's a lot of questions. That's a lot. But I'll start. I think any marketing method, works first and foremost, virtual versus not virtual. Any marketing method works. So
Okay.
I'm still texting right now.
Yeah.
I know that the texting thing, there was this big, like, it's going to go away in June. And you know what? It is September and it hasn't
Yeah.
gone
Oh,
away.
yeah. We still love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So AdWords, I agree with Lauren. And the reason why I agree is because California, where she probably did AdWords, it eats your money.
Oh, yeah.
No, I did
Real
in
fast.
Nashville. I
Oh,
did
did
it
you?
in
Oh, okay.
Nashville and Oklahoma.
All
So
right,
I did
fair
it in two actually very different types of markets. Oklahoma would be similar to like Indy or even Clarksville, not really Clarksville, but yeah, in Nashville when I did it, it ate up anything I made. I just spent it like in the next month. And then same with Oklahoma. It was just too competitive in that environment. And then the seller that I was talking to was a savvy seller who knew how to work the internet.
Yeah. You can't control your budget. You burn through capital, and if you hire an agency to run it for you, their model's counterproductive in my eyes, because they get paid a percentage of what you spend. And to me, it's like, well, then why are you incentivized for me to spend less?
Yeah. And they're
it
not
doesn't
paying
make sense.
attention.
They're not paying attention.
They're not paying attention to your campaign. That's another thing. I'm not smart enough to even know how to work AdWords. And so like I would rely on these agencies to do it. And I would be like, whoa, I just spent $10,000 this month. Like, what?
Oh, yeah. Got nothing. No, I'm with you. I did $9,000. I don't use them either. I did $9,000 in Bama, and I was just getting stuff like I know we talk about virtual and small.
You did
towns,
statewide?
But not small town.
No. I did it just a couple of years ago, before it was like the big thing. I tried it, and someone else ran it for me. I did $9,000 I spent, and in the Birmingham area, but it was all rural, like super rural in the middle of nowhere, and it didn't even warrant the time to spend on that deal when you got other stuff happening in town that are moving faster. So I was just like, I'm done. So yeah, but I will say though, and what's interesting as we go around and talk about marketing, because Lauren said like her cold calling, is down. That's still my number one right now, but it is where my focus goes. So we've talked about this before. Where you focus your marketing efforts is where you will get results.
Yeah.
And mine's not so much in texting, but I don't. But I spend a tenth of the time doing it in texting. So it's unique to see that, and for everyone to understand that where you put your efforts in is where you actually get your results.
So hey, speaking of that,
sucks.
Kay May says, is BlackRock a threat to smaller individual real estate investors? I don't look at it as a threat personally, but they're a big hedge fund, are they not?
Right.
Yeah.
I think a threat in a way, but you can also leverage them to build your business at the same time.
They're not
that.
Hedge funds are your best buyers because they pay closer to retail than any other buyer. The only problem with hedge funds is they usually have a buy box that's not quite as wide as some other buyers.
And they do not wiggle.
They don't wiggle.
When you go in, because hedge funds, the people running the show, they're learning the market as well, right? As they go into these new ones. So we made well over $100,000 off 5 deals in Mississippi. And one of them was 43,000 on this deal. And these numbers to me did not make sense, like one bit. But to them in their buy box and their returns and how they work this stuff out, they wanted to pay that. Then we got another house that was better, was brick, in a better area, in a better street, and they want to pay 50 for it, like 50,000 less than the other one. And it's just like, it makes no sense, but it sometimes doesn't have to make sense, because as wholesalers, especially with hedge funds, our job is not to educate them, right? We're delivering a product to them that they want. And that's how you're going to make the spreads. And if you understand, you're not just got to understand the buy box, but I would also say you have to understand the way they close the deal. So some hedge funds that we work with a lot as well, is we have to buy the property. Like they will not let us do back-to-back closing. We have to bring transactional funds to close on the deal. There's only one hedge fund that makes us do it. They use the same closing company, and they actually make us physically close on the property. They will not do assignments. If they do assignment, they'll only do $5,000 max. And also you have to close on the deal, but they'll pay stupid numbers. So you know what? We'll bring transactional funds in. Let's go. If you're going to give me 43 grand on this thing, then let's do it. So you have to understand that as well.
All right.
I think understand that. Just one more thing, their business model. They have money from investors, and that money burns a hole in their pocket. They have to deploy. And so they're constantly looking for opportunities to deploy that capital. What they're not good at is the marketing side that we're good at.
Yeah.
And so they're not competition. That we're an advantage for them. And if you leverage that advantage properly, they can make you a lot of money.
Hey,
Yeah.
that goes right up with this comment that Kay had dropped in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Are they a threat? You just said they're not competition.
They're not competition.
They're not at all. These guys are like sophisticated Wall Street guys. They don't want to beat the bushes and send text messages and manage a cold calling team. No way. I even have the argument that I don't think the iBuyer model is going to work, because I've been scaling my wholesaling company for, I don't even know, 6-7 years. I've been like with employees and stuff. Mm-hmm. It is hard. It is hard to scale a wholesaling company. You have to really manage like your staff and deal with turnover and the type of people that you're hiring for those positions. You know, it's kind of tough. You have to deal with a lot of turnover, a lot of employee oversight, and, you know, just figuring out a market, you know, and I just don't think the iBuyer model, I don't see how it's going to work.
I think just like the hedge funds, they're not really a threat. They're a tool. So next, what I want to learn about is, and I'm sure people are going to be commenting on this as well, what the teams look like. You know, so I'm a landlord at heart. I think wholesaling is really a marketing business, right? More than anything else. And it's just a way to find deals off market, right? If you decide or choose that you want to, you know, sell the contract, great. But you still got to find deals, right? In order to do anything in real estate without having tons of risk. What I'm kind of curious about, though, is, you know, who do I need to essentially go hire?
Well, when I first go into a new market, I look for a JV partner. I look for someone who's already successfully wholesaling to piggyback off of them for a while and piggyback off of their.
I figured that was the go-to.
Definite go-to at first, because you're going to learn from them. They're going to cut your learning curve. They're going to give you the escrow officer in town that you need to work with. You know, they're going to explain what zip codes no one buys in. You know, they're going to help you with pricing, help you with understanding who's, you know, the buyers in the area, what's their main game. I recommend having 3 JV partners in that area, because, you know, there's different focuses. Like, for example, Don sounds 3 per market, at least start with it. I start with 3 because there's 2 reasons. One is I kind of say it's like dating. Like, if you end up marrying the first person you date, like that can end up really bad for you. So you want to, you know, like date multiple people and pick like the right partner for you. And like, that's the same thing. Like you're working with business partners, and some people work out and just some people don't. A lot of wholesalers talk a really big game, and then when they're actually put to the test, they don't know what they're talking about. So you kind of don't know who the guy who's lying to you until you actually see, you know, you give them a contract and see what they do with it. If you can't find a wholesaler to JV with, you are not in a good market to wholesale.
You'd want to pivot out of the JV role, right? So you maybe do 10, 20, 30, whatever, do a bunch of deals, learn the market, and always have those 3. I love that too, by the way. 3 different JV partners in your pocket, because you're going to leverage their lists, but you're going to split your profits. So in order to be profitable, you're going to want to do all these things yourself at some point, right? And that's all probably also when you're going to be bringing in your boots on the ground, right?
I think as well, though, there's so many ways to set this up, right?
Right.
This is one way.
There's really not a blueprint, because it gets a little different.
There isn't, because, you know, one of the models that we do is Lauren's exactly right. You cannot go to a guy or gal doing a lot of deals as a JV and then expect them to do anything for you. But what I do is that I will go and search for people that have done a couple of deals that don't have systems, that don't have marketing, that don't have money, but has the right fit for the sales cycle. I will come in and JV with them, where I do all the lead gen, they lock the deal up and move it, and we split 50-50. But again, that isn't a seasoned person.
You're like a wholesaling agency.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good model.
Approach.
So as I'm sitting here going, I 100% agree with Lauren saying, but the difference is that the approach, you don't go, oh yeah, this guy's doing 5-6 deals. He ain't got time to work my stuff. But I got Tom over here that's got enthusiastic, willing to work, done a couple of deals, just not got no systems, can't market, blah, blah, blah. Why don't we JV? And then we split, but I get him doing the work on the ground.